This budget is underwhelming, unfair, irresponsible, unimaginative, lacks creativity, and above all, deceitful. Instead of instilling hope, this budget has left us in despair. Mr. Speaker said the budget is merely pushing the different priorities of each leg of the uneven stool rather than taking a collective approach to growing the economy and building confidence. Mr. Speaker, sir, the national budget raises very serious concerns regarding its impact on citizens, businesses, and the overall economy. The increase in VAT, duties, and corporate tax will have a detrimental effect on the economy and the livelihood of citizens. This budget lacks a comprehensive strategy for lowering the cost of living for ordinary Fijians or promoting private sector growth, essential for creating jobs and boosting economic productivity. Mr. Speaker, sir, after so much frenzy that the debt is high and we need to control the expenditure and start paying the debt, the Minister of Finance did the opposite. He chose to borrow more, to spend more on operations rather than capital works. He has delivered the largest deficit outside the pandemic years in the Fijian history. There is no sign that Fiji is on the path of fiscal repair. Absolutely no sign. We have heard from Honourable Prasad that 25% of the government budget will go towards servicing debt. To pay debt, one needs a balanced or surplus budget, not a budget deficit. This is what we are seeing. We all know that this professor is very good at hoodwinking. Mr. Speaker, sir, he's the same professor who used the Sangamoli budget, as he termed it, to run the government from December 22 after voting against it. What they called freebies and handouts, are now the main feature of the coalition government's budget.
Absolutely.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the cost of living is at all-time high and it will get much worse if this budget is passed. The budget is heavily tilted against the poor, working and middle-income families, MSMEs, farmers and tourists. They will feel the pain at the cash registers with the VAT increases from 9 to 15%. It is obvious the burden of raising government revenue lies squarely on them. Fijians should brace themselves for an increase in the price of everything by 6%. Mr. Speaker, sir, Fijians who think that a measly increase in pension and other allowances, including reduced duty on meat and prawns, will improve access to these categories of food, are being fooled. All these items attract 15% VAT, which will further increase the price by at least 1%. Fijians should be ready to pay more for over-the-counter medicines, such as balm, eye and ear drops, cough mixtures, baby products, painkillers, vitamins and other supplements. Mr. Speaker said generally when someone is under the weather, they normally go to the pharmacy to get this medication over the counter to actually fix themselves before they go to the doctor. Now when they go to the pharmacy, they will find that all the over-the-counter products are 15%. And that will push the price further, Mr. Speaker, sir. Do Fijians realize that under this coalition government, their water, electricity, and telecommunication bill will go up? Is this what they promised to the people, that they're going to look after them by increasing all the bills? If consumers are thinking they are not affected by an increase in corporate tax, then they are naive. An increase in corporate tax will be passed on to consumers through price increases, as businesses will always protect their profits. A meager increase in pension is still not enough to counter price increases on thousands of products because of VAT increases. Most of these items are not under price control, Mr. Speaker, sir. The meager increase in social allowance may give the false impression of improved support, but in practice, it will cause financial strain on pensioners and low-income earners. In fact, they're actually worse off. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm appalled by institutions like Consumer Council of Fiji and FCOS and other organizations and individuals for supporting this budget without really understanding the full repercussion of this budget on our people. In all these, I wonder what Honorable Tumbuya has to say. She was opposing a 12.5% VAT increase through social media. If she thought 12.5% was inhumane, I wonder what she has to say about 15% VAT increase, which her party is now pushing for and she's happily supporting. Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, any tax hikes hurts consumers and businesses alike, affecting their purchasing power and decreasing investments. Consumers' disposable income will shrink, causing cutback on other goods and services, Mr. Speaker, sir. Such behavioral change can affect businesses, causing the economy to slow down and impacting the revenue collection for the government. Tourism will become more expensive, particularly with an increase in VAT and departure tax. But the question is, why are we squeezing the tourism sector and letting the water bottling industry go scot-free? Mr. Speaker, sir, prior to the budget, the Prime Minister made a national address asking the Fijian people to understand and accept the hard times, alluding to the budget while shamelessly, in the same vein, giving all water bottling companies a 7-year tax holiday. We all wonder what exactly was discussed between the Prime Minister and the billionaire owners of Fiji Water earlier this year for him to make an unjust decision. One thing is for sure, Prime Minister has put the interest of Fiji Water first and much ahead of Fiji and the Fijians. Mr. Speaker, sir, how can this budget justify the exemption of corporate tax, specifically for established water bottling companies, while increasing corporate tax to all other companies and new companies registering on the South Pacific Stock Exchange? Is this fair to our garment industry, food processing companies, furniture manufacturing companies, and other export businesses to pay more in corporate income tax? It is strange, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the Minister for Finance, who is never tired of speaking about accountability and transparency, failed to mention tax exemption for all water bottling companies, whether new or old, in his speech. This is the level of protection the Rambuka government is trying to give to rich and influential companies. Absolutely no transparency. Again, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is illogical for Honorable Prasad to defend by saying that the increase in water resource tax will give an overall gain for Fiji. How? Currently, the companies are paying two taxes: water resource tax for water as raw materials and corporate tax on the profits. Mr. Speaker, sir, by exempting corporate tax, the water bottling companies will only pay water resource tax and zero tax on their profits. So how is this a revenue gain? Unless these companies are showing losses in the books, which is really hard to believe. No matter what, you are foregoing revenue and setting a dangerous precedent. The closer you are to this government, the more you can get away with tax exemption. Let the other business suffer, who cares? Ultimately, let the country suffer. Another interesting observation: just for one established international company to claim tax credits in USA, Rambuka government decided to forego corporate tax on all water bottling companies. Mr. Speaker, sir, Fiji Water has become a gatekeeper, stopping Fijian companies from selling any product with the name Fiji in the US market. Was this problem solved by the Prime Minister, in all fairness to our local companies? I hope international consumers and NGOs are watching how rich and powerful global brand is influencing politicians for their own gain in a developing country. The Minister for Finance has rewarded lawyers and accountants, and other professionals. Some of them are on the Fiscal Review Committee by endorsing the removal of the social responsibility tax and reducing personal tax by 5%, resulting in a revenue loss of $2.2 million. While ignoring, Mr. Speaker, sir, while ignoring the recommendation made by the same committee to reduce income tax for those earning between $30,000 and $50,000, this was not done, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, this income group with no social protection will be badly affected if this budget is passed. He also deferred the taxing of dividend income benefiting the rich while taxing the working and middle class families. Oh yes, I know what I'm talking about, thank you. Mr. Speaker, sir, the budget intends to tax Fijians earning any interest on their savings while exempting tax on the profits earned by companies like Fiji Water. This is not only unethical, this is shameful, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'll give you an example, Mr. Speaker, sir. If a farmer or a market vendor puts $5,000 in their bank account and they're earning 2% interest rate, at the end of the year they earn $100 as their interest income, this government is going to tax that $100. This is how low they have gone in collecting revenue from all these people. Previously, under FijiFirst government, the resident withholding tax on interest income less than $1,000 was exempted from taxes. Which coalition government will remove it once this budget is passed, Mr. Speaker, sir? And I hope the people of this country are listening, Mr. Speaker, sir. This is the government that promised that we will look after you, we will look after your interests, and this is what they are doing to the people of this country, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, since Minister for Finance claims the debt situation is so bad, then a right-thinking person will ask, why is the government foregoing all these revenues from professionals and businesses that have the means to pay? In fact, every penny should count. Mr. Speaker, sir, moving on to TELS. To say TELS have been forgiven is deceptive. It is not forgiven. It is converted to a bond with just a name change from Topper Scholarship to merit-based scholarship. You know, microwave, reheating. Mr. Speaker, sir, 53,700. Mr. Speaker, sir, 53,725 students will reap the benefit at the expense of most Fijians who don't have student debt. They don't have a student debt. It is unfair and inappropriate to ask the rest of the citizens to pay by dismantling a sustainable financial model of loan scheme just to meet SODALPA's demand. This means every year, and taxpayers should listen to this very carefully, this means every year the government will have to raise around $150 million or even more through taxes, maybe another VAT, maybe another duty increase, I don't know what it would be, or redirect funds away from other services to continue paying for tertiary education. Is this responsible? Is this responsible leadership? Is this your money that you can make a decision recklessly, Mr. Speaker, sir? The policy decision is not sustainable. Of course, we know that the Minister for Finance does not care about financial sustainability.